understand the dynamics.
Yeah, dynamics.
And that this thing is done in his own interest.
That's it. Right.
Okay, then, to the next issue. You know, the alutasism may not have totally vanished. For instance, the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, has issued a 2-week ultimatum to the federal government urging the resolution of various long-standing issues affecting the polytechnic sector. According to ASUP National President Shama Banja, the decision to give the ultimatum that begins on the 7th of October was reached at a National Executive Committee meeting of the union on Thursday. So the unresolved issue of the ASUP strike is also on the cards. The union has issued a 14-day ultimatum to the federal government as well, Charles.
Yes, I think not again. Because there's been problem besetting the educational sector, which of course we can't allow to fester. People like you who today you sit here, Bajide, we sit here. Education gave us that, gifted us that privilege to be here and then speak the best of grammar and also be able to do research. But when you look at what's happening, for instance, in my brand, we have about a couple of National Youth Service Corps members who came there, and somebody was I give somebody an assignment. Go and do that. It was spelling proper nouns with small letters, and the punctuation was. I told you we were taught COEMA in those days. COEMA it's an acronym for content. All of them. Doesn't mean they don't use COEMA in those days to know exactly where to mechanical accuracy, expression, and all that. So people right now, and because of some of these things, somebody will go to school without even the. Do you know that some people even pass through school without even facing a professor in a university? It happens every time. I know that.
I asked somebody the other day, just 2-3 days ago, how many parts of English?
Parts of speech. Oh, okay, parts of English, exactly. I mean, you are going too far. You're going too far.
The guy know that.
But for I think university has received a fair, or I can't call it a fair share. It's not a fair share actually of their own problem.
Yeah.
We can't begin to replicate this in their SWAP. They are saying that there's an alleged violation of the federal government, Polytechnic Act and other governing laws, which of course they are going about, which of course affects the everything that has to do with them. The appointments into, but so I think we cannot afford. Thankfully, I think the president said something when he came in that under his watch, universities will not go on strike. I hope that that university, the dragnet will also include the Polytechnics and the College of Education, so that we don't have to be having academic sessions, breaking, and then students can't come out with good results. Even when some of them have first class. These are first class they cannot defend. Because I remember when we went to school, what kind of system we went through. But again, today now, I think it's quite porous and the quality has actually went downstairs. This is something we must fight to ensure that it doesn't happen. The government must call them to whether it's a round table, whether it's a square table, whether it's a rectangular table, to actually speak and address this issue so that we don't have another industrial action on our hands.
Time is of the essence.
Exactly.
BKO, and that ASU is bracing up is not something we want to hear now.
Yes, ASU has given them another fresh 14-day ultimatum. There are so many outstanding issues like the disenrollment of academic staff from IPs.
Yeah.
There was a judgment of the Industrial Court on June 1 last year, which we expected that by now would have been obeyed.
Yeah.
It has not been obeyed.
It has not been
So when these people say they are going on strike, we are the ones who push them. The government provokes them to go on strike.
And they have legitimate right to do that.
Now, I think that those demands of the Polytechnics, to including a review of the scheme of service that has to do with their welfare and other conditions of service, must be addressed if we don't want them to go on strike. And the omission of academic allowances in the national budget, particularly in anticipation of charges following IPs. These issues need to be addressed so that we won't have industrial disharmony.
Oh, yeah.
In our institutions.
Yes. So I'm waiting. I hope that ASUP will not go on strike.
We hope so.
The current minister was one of them. As an academic, he was in UNIMATE, he was in Bayes University. So we
hope he will do what is necessary.
Yes, so if we not allow
it's for that constituency.
By now, that eyepiece will have been thrown into the dustbin.
All right, folks, we'll take a breather now, just so you won't begrudge us this. We are making some money. Let's go on a commercial break. We should be back shortly. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Let's go back to what we're, the Aluta season. We are not ready for another one.
No, we don't. We don't want that to happen. And the government is accused that the union criticized state-owned polytechnics for failing to implement the agreed 35%, 25% salary increase. And of course, federal government's delay in releasing the related arrears. When the federal government goes into agreement with labor, whether it's the Ajero-led labor or the medical workers.
Yeah.
NMAs.
These resident doctors.
Oh, resident, okay, yes.
NRD.
When you get into agreement, you have to fulfill
the terms.
Your own side of the bargain.
Yes. Yeah. It's an agreement.
Yes. Agreement is agreement.
We agree.
Also, when you append your
signature.
Yes. Yeah. So, but what we have is a situation in which government goes into an agreement, and when it's time to pay, they start pussyfooting. That is what these people want to see, and they don't want to see. Look at the Neme Briggs panel. It was the Buhari regime that set up that panel. After the strike that began in 2020, they set up that panel. But they refused to honor the terms of the agreement. Because university professors are so poorly paid in our country.
Oh, they are.
The terms of the Neme Briggs, the report recommended salary that should be paid to professors and academic staff. Now, to obey that, this is a problem. You didn't honor the 2009 agreement. They then said, okay, let's review that 2009 agreement.
Okay.
The review was what brought Professor Neme Briggs, the late gynecologist. But in the end, they didn't.
Then another thing, the Polytechnic, they're also asking, they're saying another sore case is the failure of the federal government to release updated conditions of service of Polytechnic staff. Now, we are all working somewhere. We know our condition of service. We know when to resume work. We know when to close. We know it's agreeable to us. But when you have updated their condition of service, they are not aware. They're in the dark. How do you expect whether what they are doing now they are progressing in error? They don't know whether what they are doing now is in their favor or against. They don't know. So I think if you have updated any condition of service, particularly those who are going to be benefiting, the beneficiary, let them know. From social to social, these are the things that are benefits that are accruable to you for doing this, for doing that. But you have updated it. So which means what they were aware of is now outdated, since we have updated it. So what is so difficult in presenting to them, okay, henceforth, this is what you are going to be doing, and this is what comes to you for doing it. But they're in the dark. And that's also, okay, federal government also do this. It's part of all the things they are looking for. So I think some of these things, they are just not, I wouldn't know, why is it so difficult, as the evangelist has said? You have agreement, you have, present it to them, and then, so that there won't be a backlog of all this. 2009 is a long time to this time.
It's been a long time.
So you'll be piling them up and up. It's a long time.
The paucity of funds has ensured that the revitalization fund that those universities are asking for, that they can use to freshen up infrastructure in the universities, is been tough. But they said, look, you don't have to pay at once.
Yes.
Pay this money in tranches.
Yeah.
Let them begin to work on the infrastructure. Especially those first generation.
Yeah, exactly.
You see some of their hostels
decaying.
You will throw up. Even the best of them all, if you see their hostels, it's like a pigsty.
But somebody even argued, if you say it's the pursuit of fund, how come those who are tied to first line charge, there's no pursuit of some? I mean, somebody asked me that question. There are people who, I mean, some like National Assembly, all of them, some of them who are tied to first line charge, their monies are never delayed. So why is it difficult for you to also consider the university system as very important to nation building and development, to also first line charge?
See, the thing is, even what is allocated for education is not sufficient.
It's not sufficient.
So even if they make it first line charge, as you said, they will never find enough money to freshen up infrastructure. I was telling someone, I said, if we were to build Third Mainland Bridge today, do you think we will be able to find the money? We will be able to find the money. Where are we going to find that kind of money? That bridge? Where? Because we needed Abacha loot to be able to construct the second Niger Bridge. We needed Abacha loot and some money from the Sovereign Wealth Fund to complete the Lagos Ibadan. We needed Abacha loot for the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway. So if Abacha had not looted all of that money.
Oh, here we go.
So are you saying, are you suggesting there's, you know, in biology, there's what you call the economic importance of the cockroach? Is that?
So it's a blessing in disguise that he looted.
Are you saying there are blessings in that?
It's blessing in disguise that he looted.
So he kept the money for us.
Not recommending.
Yes, he kept the money for us in other places.
He kept it.
So we are always
he put it in a fixed deposit for us. All right, so whenever we are hungry and
we call divine authority.
He sends it.
Gentlemen, except that in a 21st century world, we can't afford to play catch up.
Yeah, of course.
You know, it's they say you can reinvent, you can invent the future, reinvent yourself. You know, we can.
You know, we can start by showing that we prioritize education.
Yes.
Increasing allocation to education in the budget. Increasing is what can be done. We've seen even states do it to say, okay, we are even going above the UNESCO threshold.
That's it.
You know, what is wrong in going? I think Yaradua in his budget, Yaradua did that.
Yeah.
You know?
So close to 20.
That is a good starting point to say, okay, this year we want to go above the UNESCO threshold in terms of the budget for education, because the budget for education and health usually suffer.
And these are very important aspects of our living.
But it says a lot about the size of our ambition as a country.
Okay.
If you do not vote so much for education, it shows that you do not prioritize education.
Okay then. Yeah, so